Good evening, and welcome to the Ombudsman program. Thank you for joining our program this evening. My name is Diane Welborn, and I am the Ombudsman for Montgomery County, Ohio. And we are very pleased to bring to you tonight more information about a program of the Dayton Public Schools. And we have with us this evening to tell us about this program the director, whose name is Sherry Gale, PhD, Dr. Sherry Gale, who's the director of the College Credit Plus and Scholarship programs for Dayton Public Schools. Now, Dayton Public Schools serves, as many of our viewers may know, all of the students that live properly within the Dayton jurisdiction. And so there are thousands, and Sherry can tell us more about that. But this is a program that Sherry will tell us more, but it enhances a student's participation, particularly in high school, at the high school level. So thank you very much, Sherry, for joining us on this program. Now, how long have you been with the College Credit Plus program?
I have been in this position with Dayton Public Schools. This is my third year, so just over 2.5 years.
All right. Well, very good, and congratulations. And I know before that you've done a lot of community service, which probably led you up to this position. Is there anything that you'd like to highlight about that for our viewers, about what kind of brought you to this position?
Absolutely. I actually, my initial career was a math professor in higher academics. And so I did that for about a dozen years, and then felt a calling to urban ministry, and that's brought me to Dayton to go to seminary here. And I did seminary and pastored Grace Church for about another dozen years. And then I had decided that I was ready for something different, and where I am now, I'm pulling all that together. So as an urban pastor, I was very involved in the community and in social justice and in education issues. And so now I have both the experience on the college side and the community side to kind of give me that base to help our community students connect to college. So I feel like it's just a great place to be.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad for you on that. And a math professor, I think many of us, and I think many of our viewers might find that to be a challenging first career. Once you first tackled being a math professor, I think everything else could probably, fall into place, but because that can be a very big challenge. Well, tell us a bit about the program itself, and how long has it been around, and how was it conceived, and just give us a brief overview for our viewers that may have students that are rising to high school for this, or who just don't know anything about it yet.
Sure. College Credit Plus is a program of the state of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education. And so it's statewide, and it was started in the state of Ohio as College Credit Plus, like in the 2015-2016 school year. Before that, there was something very similar to it with a little bit different title. That came around in I think the late 80s, early 90s. So that has been going on for some time, and Dayton Public Schools has certainly participated in it before I was here. Since its inception in Ohio, I'm sure it's available to all students across the state. In theory, anyway, it's supposed to be available to all students across the state through any state institution across the state of Ohio. So in Dayton, for Dayton Public Schools, that looks like we actually offer college courses in each of our 6 high schools. And so we have some students taking courses, college courses at the high school, some take courses online, some go on campus. Most of them start by taking courses in their own high schools with their peers, and sometimes with one of their own instructors who's been credentialed to teach, or sometimes, somebody comes in to teach it. So that's kind of the broad view.
Well, thank you very much for that. I mean, that's a good overview. And how would you describe the impetus behind this program? What got this? I mean, if it started in the 80s, that was way before your time, but I'm sure that, like every program, it gets reevaluated and people think about it. So what is kind of the real, purpose of continuing this program and funding it for our Dayton Public School students?
Sure. So I think originally it was started because some students are able to matriculate through their high school classes at a pretty quick pace sometimes, and almost, need more courses by the time they get to their junior or senior year to do something different. And so I think it was started in that vein, is what I've read about it, to give students that opportunity to have some advanced courses at the end of their high school, and to prepare them then for college and actually get them on that track of starting their college early while they had the opportunity while they were still in high school. Over time, and initially it was only 11th and 12th graders who could do it. And
Okay.
then they backed that up to 9 through 12, I believe, at some point. And now, in theory, it's open to 7th through 12th graders. In DPS, we have not done 7th and 8th graders yet at all. This year, we started with really some concentrated efforts on a pilot of some 9th graders. So most of the students who are taking it are still juniors and seniors, are most of them. But we are trying to emphasize in Dayton Public starting younger, so that students can have opportunity to take more courses and actually complete an associate's degree. And if it would be possible, they start in 9th grade and go and just take more and more courses. So it was started to make it possible for students to get an early start in college, and to give them some more advanced coursework on the high school level. And that is exactly how we use it in Dayton Public Schools. So it allows us to supplement our high school curriculum with some more advanced courses, and with a greater option and variety of those. And it gives our students, it's free. Did I say that yet? It's free.
No, that's very important. Yeah.
They get to take the courses for free. We even buy the textbooks, the whole deal. So it's a free start to college. But I think even more importantly, when they do it in the high school, they're in an environment with their peers and in a place they feel comfortable. It also, part of what I think the beauty of it is students get the opportunity to try college who maybe were never even thinking about college. They get encouraged to do so by a teacher or a counselor or somebody who says, I think you might be able to do this. And so they try it when they really maybe weren't even thinking about college. And now they get to take a college class or 2 or 3, and they're like, I can do this. And so for me, that's the really, really exciting part, when we get students who maybe weren't even thinking about college realizing they can do it and doing it. So,
that is so encouraging to hear, about students, and particularly about those that encourage them to do this. So do you think that most of the students involved in this program have been guided or encouraged or by some particular teacher? Because all of us can name the teachers that made a difference in our lives, and I think that I'm just wondering to what extent you see that that's an important factor in which young people end up in your program?
So people end up there for a variety of reasons, but one of them is definitely, and I actually, I think we have time, I will tell a little story about that, that is most inspiring to me this year. But so teachers and counselors and principals, sometimes, are those who really encourage students to do this and talk to them about what it is and encourage them. There are some parents who do know and know about it and who are already encouraging their students to do it. So some of it does definitely come from family influences also. So it's a variety of folks, or some people, their coach tells them, or, but most students, I don't know many students who just on their own said, I know I want to do this. There are some of those, but I think most of them have been encouraged by some adult along the way. Yes.
That's great. And that actually helps your role and the DPS administrative role when you've got throughout the system people encouraging that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because I think this spring, did you not have some kind of recruitment effort for this? So tell us a little bit about how that went.
Sure. So we have had a recruitment effort, and this timing of this show, I'm not sure how all this worked, but it's beautiful. So we are heavy in recruitment season right now. Since it is a state program, they send out guidelines. So by the state guidelines, students are really supposed to let their schools know that they want to do this by April 1 if they want to participate next school year. Now, there's some grace on that deadline. I'll let that be known. In Dayton Public Schools, we want students to do this. And if you don't sign that proper piece of paper by April 1 and you decide May 1 that you want to do it, we're going to make it happen. But that is the state guideline, is April 1. So we are heavy into right now having information sessions with students and parents and trying to get the word out about the possibility of college courses. That's what we're doing now. And then students would actually, once they contact a counselor and fill out an intent form and sign that and have their parents sign it, then they would apply online. I mean, there's a whole process to do between now and the end of the school year so that we're ready for college courses in the fall.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I'm glad. Yes. And the timing is everything. And I read about this in one of the newsletters. And so I thought I need to ask this lady to come on the program so that we can help recruit and get students into this program. And some students may know, but may be wavering. And if their parents are listening or if they tune in when this is rebroadcast, then they may be able to, to help and encourage their student to make this happen for them. There's just so many questions about this. And I know you have so much to say. How are you getting the word out?
So it's a lot of one-on-one with the counselors reaching out to students and also reaching out to parents. We hold information sessions in each school, and we've held all of those that I think are going to hold in terms of formal sessions, but we are always still reaching out to students, talking to parents, talking to students one-on-one.
Right.
So that is still happening.
How do these courses differ, if they do, from what has been called advanced placement courses?
Yes, they are different, and that's a great question. So they are two different kinds of accelerated academic programs, and we offer College Credit Plus in all of our high schools. We offer advanced placement at one or two of our high schools this year, but we are looking to add more advanced placement next year.
Good.
The difference is there's several differences. So one is for advanced placement, you take the course over the course of a year, and then it's taught by your high school teacher who has specific training for that. And then you take toward the end of the school year, you take a national test, the advanced placement test, in whatever particular subject it is you've taken. And based on your score on that test, you will or will not receive college credit. So you can take the course the whole year, and if you don't pass that test, you will not get college credit. Now, let me just be the first one to say there's no loss in learning, and it's always a good idea to take these advanced classes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether you get the credit or not, but you won't automatically get the college credit. If you do get college credit, if you do well on the advanced placement test, that credit absolutely is transferable anywhere, pretty much. So you may or may not get the credit. If you do get it, it's widely transferable. With College Credit Plus, if you take the course and pass the course, you absolutely get the credit. You do not have to take any extra exam or anything like that. You get the credit. It counts for both high school and college credit. You get the grade on both your high school transcript and your college transcript.
Okay, you've answered one of my future questions about it being on a transcript.
That's it is good. On the transcript. It is not necessarily the case that it is as widely transferable as advanced placement might be if you get a good score on the advanced placement test. There is a definite agreement among the schools and state schools in Ohio with this program that you can transfer those credits to any other state school. Most schools in Ohio will also take the credit, and outside of Ohio, oftentimes it's going to transfer, maybe not, oftentimes just like as a general elective, like it might not transfer as that exact course, but it will transfer as the hours and an elective, is what I've seen most often. So those are some of the differences. They're both wonderful opportunities.
Right.
They have different ways of playing out. So,
and this is something that each student is just going to have to look into. Well, Sherry, we've got a couple of questions rolling in here, so I'm going to answer our caller's question. One of them is, are you publicizing this program, and you partially answered this, to grade school children? That this is something that's coming up in the future for them, or I guess I should say the parents of grade school children. Hard to think about fourth and fifth grade students thinking about it, but their parents may be. So right. How would you respond to that, or what would you like to see going on with that you're not able to do right now, or not equipped to do right now?
Well, it sounds like a great idea. I would say we are not really advertising it specifically or sharing the information with elementary school families. We are this year sharing it much more widely with middle school, which we have not done in the past, because we really want those middle school students to start thinking about this relative to their ninth grade decisions. And so I've gone and done presentations at middle school parent nights and so forth to try to get the word out to middle school. We have not done elementary school. All of this information is also available on our Dayton Public School website. So any family could find it there if you go under family information and then under College Credit Plus. But we have not specifically reached out to the elementary schools.
Understandably. Another caller has asked, do you, this kind of advances another question I had already, do you track enrollment in this program, and is funding based on enrollment? And I was going to ask, how many students are in it, and how's that going? So why don't you speak to all of those types of questions, if you could, please.
DPS has about 200 students this year who are taking part in College Credit Plus, taking at least one college level course. Many of them taking at least two per semester, one or two per semester. So 2, 3, 4 courses in the year. And we track those numbers. They've been increasing for the last 3 years. Of course, they dipped during COVID like everything else. We are back up above our pre-COVID numbers right now, which is good. We still need to do way more. to put that in perspective, Sinclair Community College, who is our primary partner for these courses, has 9,000 students from a wide region taking College Credit Plus courses. So, more than 200 of them ought to be DPS, right? So
That's great.
yeah.
And another question is asking about the funding. I mean, Dayton Public Schools, it's funded by our 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 home property taxes all over Dayton. And is there a relationship between the funding and the program that you're encouraging students to attend?
So we pay for it through we pay per credit hour. Just like a student would, if you enrolled your kid at college, they would charge you per credit hour, and that's what we do too. We get a much lower per credit hour amount, especially So we do, and so and more so with some schools than others. So anyway, that's how it works, and we will fund. And I believe we also get reimbursed for at least some of that from the state. We will be happy to fund as many students as want to take it and who are eligible, which I think may be the next.
I think you're right. Let's moving right in. What is the eligibility? Do you have to have a certain grade average to be able to be enrolled in one of these? You take it away.
There are 3 possible ways to be eligible. One is to have a 3.0 grade point average. That makes you eligible for College Credit Plus courses. If you don't have a 3.0, but you have a 2.75, and you also have the appropriate A's and B's in the appropriate subjects according to what course you want to take, then you can also be automatically eligible. And if neither of those apply, you can just take the placement test, because you have the ability and you want to do it, and pass the placement test. It's a writing test. And so, for instance, our freshmen who are coming in we have some freshmen taking College Credit Plus courses. We have a pilot program called DPS University, and we piloted at Dayton Dunbar and Thurgood this year. And 9th graders coming in do not have a high school GPA, period. They don't have the grades they need in a high school course. So they all had to take a placement test to be able to participate. It's an essay test. So you get a prompt, you write a 300 to 600 word essay on that prompt, and it is scored, and that is how your eligibility is determined.
Okay, I think that's good to know. What are the most popular courses that students are choosing to take?
Yeah, so the most popular courses are, I made a list so I didn't forget, but we start most.
You're a teacher.
Yeah, we start most students in the writing composition courses. You do have to write papers for a lot of different courses, so that seems like, a really good idea. So we start most students in Sinclair's English 1101 and then 1201. It's the first and second semester of writing composition. So that's our most popular course. Also popular are sociology, like Introduction to Sociology, General Psychology. Those are great electives for people to take that will apply to almost anything anybody wants to major in. You're going to have to take some social science requirements, and they're fun courses for students. American history is pretty popular. We have students who do that. We offer it in many of our schools, as well as American government, which everybody has to take anyway. So they get both their high school credit for it and their college credit for it.
And as ombudsman, they should know. I'm going to say they should know.
And when you, like the English 1101, you take a semester course. So the way these work, you take a semester course, you do it in a semester, you get 3 credit hours of college, and you get 1 high school Carnegie unit. You get a full year's worth. So if they do that in their junior year, and they're taking their regular English, they've now completed their English requirements. I recommend still taking more, but you can bank up a lot of courses and credits by getting them done in a semester instead of taking the whole year to do them. So those are our most popular. We also offer, sometimes we offer an intro to lit course. We've offered general biology, anatomy and physiology, chemistry. And we're doing Spanish at one school through UC, actually, because their Spanish teacher already did adjunct work for UC. So
now, are these courses online for our, well, maybe I shouldn't stammer around here, but maybe you can tell me, how are these courses actually offered in the schools? Because the students are in the schools where they normally would be all day long. They're not going to a special place to take these courses. So how are they offered and how are they accessed by students?
So they are offered, almost all of them are in person. We've done a few online ones, and next year we're hoping to be entirely away from that. But this year we still have a few. But they are mostly in person in a regular classroom, which the teachers are great about saying, you know, for this hour, this class is a Sinclair classroom or a Wright State classroom or a Central State classroom or whatever. This is a college classroom for this hour. Some of our high school teachers, if you've taken enough graduate level coursework in the content area of the course, you can be credentialed by Sinclair or Wright State or whomever to teach the course. And so some of our DPS teachers are credentialed and are themselves teaching the course in their high school with their students. Other times, we have very few, I don't think we have anybody credentialed to teach psychology or sociology. Those are then instructors who are coming in to our high schools like 3 days a week. The course meets 5 days a week like usual. The college instructor comes in 2 or 3 days of the week. We have a teacher from DPS also assigned to the classroom as a proctor. So they're there just to kind of be a backup person and help with whatever needs done in the classroom while the instructor's there. And on the days when the instructor is not there, they're helping students complete the work and stay on top of things. So almost all of them are one of those two ways, in person with either a high school teacher or a college teacher coming in from the outside. When students have some of our students get through all the course offerings we have in our high schools, and then they sometimes do take things online just with other college students, or they go on campus and take things sometimes. So, yeah.
And you've mentioned a few, but are there particular institutions in addition to Sinclair with which you partner? And is Dayton Public Schools hoping to partner with more? And how does that process work for students and for you as the administrator of this?
Yeah, so Sinclair is our primary partner, I would say. We also have formal MOUs with the University of Cincinnati, and we are offering one of their courses at one of our high schools right now. And we also have a formal MOU with Central State. We don't have any of their courses in our schools yet. That may happen next year. Okay. We also have a couple of students who are taking courses at Wright State online. That's mostly online. As far as for the students, if it's being delivered in our school, it's not much difference for them. I'm the primary liaison between Dayton Public School and any one of these universities we're working with. Students do have to formally apply to any college they're taking College Credit Plus courses from. So if all their courses are at Sinclair, they apply to Sinclair and it's one thing. If they have one course at Sinclair and one course at UC, then that's two application processes. They're online. They're not usually very difficult, but you have to actually formally apply to any college you're taking a course from.
Very good. Thank you. I have a question, but we also have callers coming in, and I'm getting their question. That one caller asked, are retired faculty able to offer courses if they're not still officially on staff? Or do you even know that? Does that have to do with the university, or how does that work?
It would be through the university, but basically they hire the folks as adjuncts to do this. Or,
Okay.
sometimes they use their full-time people, but like when they hire our teachers, they're not really hiring. Anyway, when they use our teachers, they have to officially apply to be an adjunct. So I think that is how it would work. Dayton Public School would very much welcome this, and I'd be happy to talk to whoever might be interested in that and try to make arrangements with the college. But it is formally through the college. But
Okay.
I'd be happy to, help facilitate that.
Well, that's good for viewers to know, and particularly for the questioner that we had
Mm-hmm.
about doing something in retirement to use, all those years of education and all of that knowledge that they have and the
Mm-hmm.
teaching abilities that they do have. Um, and then I had quite a few others questions for you. And what can you tell us a bit about how you see this program perhaps helping students access college and college education where they may not have been able to do so before? Do you see a difference in the rates of attendance at colleges that we want to see higher education succeed and see students succeed in that? So, what can you say about the experience that students have had from this?
Oh, that's a great question, and those are things that take years and years because it's first of all they get through high school, and then there's this other 4 to 6 years to get through college to see. So right now, our numbers for College Credit Plus are increasing. I'm very new in this position, and prior to that was COVID, and so there's not great data recently, I would say, to support how much help this is going to be in terms of students going on and succeeding in terms of from Dayton Public School. There's no doubt that has happened other places. There's no doubt that more Dayton Public School students are being inspired to go to college because they recognize it's possible. They can do it. And they get connected to Sinclair. So first of all, they start to understand that they have the ability to do it. And then they also realize that they don't have to have boatloads of money necessarily either. Sinclair is an incredible gem in our community, and our students, many Dayton Public School students, are Pell Grant eligible. That's another part of the scholarship piece of my title. And for Pell Grant eligible students, Sinclair is virtually free in terms of tuition. So these students get started at Sinclair. They can go on to Sinclair. Many of them can go on for virtually free to Sinclair. And then from there, you've got other options. Wright State is affordable. You've got Central State affordable. You've got other options. UD has got a great partnership where you can do the first couple of years at Sinclair and then go to UD. So more and more students are recognizing that and getting excited about that possibility. I can't say that we've got great numbers to support what that means about them going to and getting through college yet. But
yeah, that's a longevity study. I understand.
It is, and if you and I are still doing this, 6 years from now, we can look at that, and that'll be great.
We'll have another program, and we'll come back to that. So I know, being a PhD in mathematics, you will keep your numbers, so, so you will know about that. So, what is your feedback, more anecdotally, from the students as you're doing this, just so viewers can know if they're needing to speak to a grade school student or a grandchild that's in middle school? What would you want to convey to them about that?
Sure. It's just such an excellent opportunity for people to have an accelerated academic program and really get the taste of college in an incredibly safe environment. And the things that can be helpful is the, the tough part is developing the study habits that you need to be successful in the College Credit Plus courses also. It's college, the work is for real. You have to keep up with it. You have to be much more responsible for your own learning. We have wonderful instructors, both from the colleges and in our high schools. They're wonderful, but I always tell the students, they're not going to tell you every day, remember, you've got this assignment coming up and you've got to do this and this. They give you a syllabus at the beginning of the semester. They give you some reminders. They don't just leave you out there, but there's not you have to take more responsibility for your own learning. So the more we can do to encourage our students to read, to stay on top of their work, is what's going to be helpful in them being able to be successful in College Credit Plus courses. And that's part of what we're learning even within DPS. How do we better prepare our students to be successful in those courses? Because being successful in those courses will help you be successful in college. How do we make it so that students coming in from elementary and middle school can be successful in those courses? And it really is about being focused on staying on top of your work, taking your own responsibility for deadlines and meeting those, doing all the reading in the world that you can, all the writing that you can. Yeah.
Very nice answer. Thank you very much for that. Are you able at this point to use some high schoolers who are doing this to help advocate with middle schoolers? Or, I mean, you said you really didn't have the efforts right now to be able to recruit grade schoolers, but how are you able to use students to help in recruiting this at this point? Or is it pretty much all on your shoulders and superintendent's shoulders and teachers' shoulders?
What you're naming, we have not done much of, but we have started talking about. And I do think there's at least one high school that's going to send some of their students to at least one middle school where they frequently recruit to do exactly what you're talking about. So it would be great. So I definitely students encourage their fellow classmates within the high school. We haven't done as much of taking the high schoolers down to the middle school and having them do that kind of peer mentoring and coaching.
It's a lot of organization.
It is.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there's a lot of interaction among students in a course, and kind of like a cohort type of thing where they're in a course and they're learning it together. And how would you say that these courses relate to that? Because do you have enough in different high schoolers where they have some kind of cohort where there's a number of them? Or are they also taking part with other Dayton Public School students from other schools at the same time in the same course? Just whatever you'd like to say about that, I think viewers would like to hear.
Sure. So the courses that are offered in our high schools, if we have an instructor coming in from the outside, we have to have 12 students for the course to run. And so this isn't just an isolated student here and there. So, and most of those courses, even when we use our own instructors, we have that many. So it's not a class of 30 usually, and we wouldn't want it to be really, but these are classes with 12, 15, sometimes 25, I will say 20, 25 students in them. And part of what, if we're offering 2 or 3 different CCP courses at a given high school in a given semester, which we usually do, there's going to be a lot of overlap. So we don't ever offer them at the same time. They're at different times in the schedule. And so you do end up with this sort of core group of students who are taking, English 1101 and psychology and maybe, something else. And so there's a lot of good camaraderie between them. The whole idea of the DPS university is really to have a cohort that moves through high school together. So those students, we have about a dozen of them at Dunbar right now who started in 9th grade with the English 1101 and then 1201 in the spring. They also are in their honors algebra course. They're in their honors regular language arts course. And so they end up tracked together for a good portion of the day. And then next year they'll take 2 different College Credit Plus courses and more honors courses and kind of keep moving through together in that way.
So, that sounds like a wonderful system. It sounds like, that's a really wonderful way to go with that. Absolutely. One of the things that, I've got a caller coming in, so I'm going to hesitate with my questioning and go to the caller. Caller wants to know, are there statistics for acceptance rates for students who have been through this program for either DPS or Ohio or other states? Or what would your comment be on that about if a student or family member is watching this tonight, does the student have a higher rate of being accepted in college by virtue of participating in these courses?
So yeah, I'm not sure if they're talking about acceptance into CCP or acceptance into college afterward, but you're interpreting it as the latter, and I can say something about either. I mean, it's certain. So here's the double-edged sword about the College Credit Plus. So these are going to show up on your transcript, whether you do well or you don't do well. So just participating is not necessarily helpful. Let me just say that. You can withdraw from courses. There's plenty of time to do that. If you're not doing well, one should withdraw. You really don't want a D or an F on your transcript first thing when you're trying to go to college. Okay.
Right.
So that's another difference between the advanced placement. Advanced placement, nothing shows up if you don't, but if you don't do well, that shows up. If you do well, that's wonderful, and that certainly increases, your chances in terms of transferring to getting into colleges. The acceptance rate into getting into CCP is pretty high. If you have stamina to sit and write almost 600 words, that's what I've seen. I mean, passing that writing test is very possible, but you got to sit there and do it. It just takes a little bit of stamina. So
good. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And I was going to ask before we run out of time, which we're not at right now, but we want to make sure we don't. Part of your title is scholarships, and scholarships are everything to students going to college. I mean, they mean everything to students and families. We know that we have a huge student debt problem in our country right now that many people are struggling with. So you also, are shouldering some responsibilities for scholarships for helping students. And what would you have to comment for viewers about the work that DPS is able to do in helping students obtain scholarships?
Yes, so there's a variety of types of scholarships. So there's large national scholarships. Those are the due dates for those large national scholarships come very early in the senior year for students. So right now, at the end of their junior years, we're going to be talking to some of our outstanding juniors at each of our high schools about what they could be doing over the summer to prepare and be ready for those large scholarship applications in the fall. So if you've got juniors who are just really, doing some outstanding work, and get them in some summer programs and all those things, those come early in the year, and the counselors are your main resource at every high school. There's also the very large UD scholarship, the McIntosh scholarship. That comes
Yes.
here. These are all like full ride things. They're amazing. That one also includes an internship with the city.
Yes.
So that's a beautiful one. Then there are some countywide kinds of things. The Dayton Foundation Scholarship Connect, that deadline just passed. It was March 8th. The Dayton Montgomery County Scholarship deadline is this Friday. And there are a host of other local scholarships and other scholarships that people send to me to let our families know about. All of those are on the Dayton Public School website under scholarship and financial aid. There's even a button you can click, and every time I get a new one in, I just add it to the list, and it'll have a link to the application. Okay.
Good.
Now, there are also things I'd like to mention. There are some amazing scholarships that 8th graders have the opportunity to apply for, basically. And then they get mentoring through high school, followed by scholarship once all of that goes well through high school. Those deadlines are passed for this year, but I want people to know about them. They're huge and they're important. And if you've got a 7th grader, if you've got an elementary school student, these are things to be thinking about. It's first of all the College Promise scholarships. Those are across Montgomery County. And you get a mentor through high school. You apply in 8th grade. If you do well through high school, you have mostly a free ride to one of about 13 different colleges in the state of Ohio. It's amazing. The Ohio State University has a Young Scholars program, very similar. It's just for Ohio State, and it's for the urban areas. And so students apply in 8th grade. If they are accepted into that program, they have a mentor through Ohio State, through their high school program, do well through high school. First of all, they get into Ohio State, which is really difficult these days. They get into Ohio State and have basically a full ride. These are amazing opportunities. And I do want, since you've given me this time, which thank you for inviting me in the first place. And
well,
I want to say,
this is important.
Here's what breaks my heart, and I want people to hear this. We have students whose grades can be up there. Some little things can make a big difference in whether a kid gets accepted. Like, are they coming to school every day and are they on time? Things like that. These are so competitive, okay, that every little thing makes a difference. So having your kids in school, having them there on time, and involving them in any kind of extracurricular activities that are possible, any summer programs that are possible, all those things make a difference on these scholarships all the way through, including for 8th graders. So, all right, get off my soapbox.
No, it's an important soapbox to be on, and I wanted you to get this out to our viewers because I think some parents are very overwhelmed. There's not necessarily a roadmap that this is what you do and this is what you do next, and you do this by this time, and then you have FAFSA coming in, and then you've got all these other things that you have to do. And I think that you're directing our viewers to the school counselors to help with that, and I know that your office is able to assist students with that as well. But for parents that have not been through this with children before, it can be daunting and it can be overwhelming, but it is conquerable. It is something that people can do when they get help. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad you've mentioned the resources that are available. And so would you give us the website for the scholarships and for the other programs that you would recommend? Is it the general DPS website, or is there a special one?
Yep. Nope. You go on the general Dayton Public Schools website, and up at the top, one of your choices is family information or family info. Go under that, and that's where you'll find both the College Credit Plus part, that's one link, and a separate link is scholarships and financial aid. you know, you mentioned the FAFSA. I do want to reiterate that. I didn't. Every single one of these scholarships, you've got to fill out the FAFSA for anything.
And what does FAFSA stand for again, for
Yeah.
people who may be new to this other government form?
Right. It's the free application for federal student aid. That's what it stands for. And there have been lots of hiccups this year. Diane, I don't know if you've been on, you know, I don't know if you've seen these news.
Yeah, I have heard quite a few. Yes, it's supposed to have been made easier. I hope that's true.
So that was the idea. And anytime you roll out, you make something brand new and roll it out across the whole country on one day, there have been a lot of hiccups, and it's a very slow return process. So I do want to say something to parents and to families. You've got to do this. Anyone who's got a senior that's thinking anything about college, you've got to complete the FAFSA. And please know you may not get your feedback, your results very quickly. Colleges are understanding that. Everybody's understanding that, but you got to get it filled out, and you have to
Now,
usually.
do you think it should be done for juniors, or you think seniors?
You can't do it ahead,
Okay.
so it's seniors, but and it usually opens on October 1. So folks who have juniors next year on October 1, anytime after that's when you want to take care of this. This year, they didn't have the new one ready. They didn't roll it out till the very end of December.
Oh,
And,
great.
and then there's been a lot of issues and people are not getting their results. So it's one of those things, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to be patient with your results. You may be making your college decisions much later this year. Because you're just
It
not
does Dayton Public Schools have resources to assist if a family has never encountered a FAFSA form before and this is their first time? Is this the school counselor you would suggest, or what?
Yes, you should contact the school counselor at your school. Most all of our schools do FAFSA help sessions. They do multiples of those, but also just contacting the counselor at your school. They can help you. They have sessions that they can help you. There's folks at Sinclair that they can bring out, and folks from Sinclair, Wright State, the universities work together with us on these. Yes.
Oh, very good. I'm glad there's to hear that there's a lot of resources for
Yes.
parents for next fall. That's just wonderful. We don't have a huge amount of time left. So I would like to give you the opportunity, Sherry, because the programs that you manage encompass so much. If there's something that you have that I haven't asked you that you want viewers to know about, or that you want to call about, or that you want to highlight, I'd like to give you this opportunity to say that before we have to end our program.
Well, first of all, I do just really thank you for having me on. We're just delighted, and I'm very excited with our new superintendent, with the emphasis on increasing our academic programs and what we're offering students in general. Very pleased with that, and so I want parents to know that the opportunities for advanced coursework are only going to be increasing in Dayton Public Schools. I'm certain of that, through College Credit Plus, advanced placement, and who knows what else will come up in the coming years. So there are opportunities. The counselors, every middle school has one counselor. Every high school has two counselors, and some more than that. They are your number one line. You can also reach out directly to me. If you're not getting through to a school, you can reach out to Sherry Gale at Dayton Public Schools. You can find me. My email is sgale, SGALE, at daytonpublic.com. You can find me there. Let me know if there's something you need that you're not getting. That's fine. But the high school counselors are your number one advocate, and our website, I think, has good information. We are we have lots of options. Our 6 high schools, we have an arts magnet school, we have 2 CTE schools, and the other 3 schools that are Belmont, Dunbar, and Thurgood are now all going to have the DPS university next year, so that we have some kind of exciting academic offerings at every one of our high schools. So there's lots of good new opportunities coming.
Congratulations on all of that hard work, and best of luck for continued success with this program, and continued success for all of the Dayton Public Schools, students who take part in those programs. And the role of the counselors at the middle and high schools can't really be underestimated in this point. And the program that you are running, we are so very glad to hear about. And I want our viewers, particularly those that have students in school, or grandparents, because we have a lot of grandparents raising grandchildren. We even have great grandparents who are doing that nowadays. So, or even aunts and uncles who may not feel like they know the ins and outs of all of these programs, to feel very comfortable to contact Dr. Gale and the counselors at their schools to get further information so that they can assist their students. Sherry, thank you so much for your time tonight. I know we could have talked for another 2 hours, but we don't, because there's a lot there, but we don't have that. But thank you so much, and look forward to having you on again. So we'll say good night to all of our viewers for this evening, and appreciate your participation in the show so much. And we're grateful that the work that you're doing for the students that we watch moving through our neighborhood and riding on our buses. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.